I survived an abusive relationship, rebuilt my life and found love again. Only to be betrayed by my husband while 6 months pregnant. A planned pregnancy turned my husband into a monster and I'm not giving up. It feels like a cruel joke. Years before I met my husband, I was in such a toxic, abusive relationship that it almost ended my life. I spent years in therapy bettering myself, figuring out why I accepted that type of love. I stayed single for years, and once I started dating, I made sure to keep an eye out on all red flags. Heck, I even took things slowly when there was nothing but green flags. Thanks to my ex, I was familiar with love bombing. I met my husband at work event and things just fell into place. I opened up and explained my past trauma, and let him know that if we were going to date that it would require a slow pace and patience. I won't say that he was perfect, but he was always kind, compassionate, and cared. We dated for about 5 years, engaged for 1 and married for a little over 3 years now. We recently bought our second home together. We both got promotions at work, so we sat down and talked about kids. He wanted a big family, and I only wanted 1 or 2. We agreed on 2 and started trying. It didn't take long and here I am 6 months pregnant, still working, have swollen ankles and a back that won't stop aching. Other than that, I've been very happy and have what I thought was a supportive husband. 3 weeks ago, I found out that he was having an emotional affair, and honestly probably a physical one. When confronted with the evidence, he admitted to not being attracted to me while pregnant. I'm wrecked. I haven't gained unnecessary weight. I still take care of myself, even with the morning sickness that hasn't gone away. He's not sorry about it, but you told me that I was being overdramatic when I cried. He is staying with his family until he can find a home to rent. He doesn't want to get a divorce. He's saying after the pregnancy is over we can go to therapy and fix things. I don't want to. I cannot physically look this man in the eye anymore without feeling disgust. I have a text from him saying that he's my only option because no man wants to date a single mom. I'll be talking to a lawyer and figuring out how to divorce him. I just wanted to vent into the void today. For now, I'm going to DoorDash some nuggets and a Frosty from Wendy's and be okay if I gain 5 pounds from it. Thanks for listening. Well, reading, I suppose. Relevant comments. Someone offers to buy OOP food. Thank you for the offer. I already ordered my food and am stuffed. If you'd like to head over to the free food subreddit and feed someone that's in need, they need it more than I do. Red heart. In response to a now deleted comment. I don't think you deserve the amount of dislikes for asking a question. Maybe it was in the way you worded it. Who really knows? Emotional was how I decided to word it because what else do I call just talking? He was telling a very young naive woman how hot she was, how he couldn't wait to touch her body, telling her he loved her, but then claimed they never met. He would complain to her that I wasn't fun anymore. There were obviously pictures sent back and forth due to comments, but the pictures were deleted. I asked him about all his overtime at work and he couldn't give straight answers, hence the physical aspect of things. This man went from working maybe 40 hours a week to 60, and I may be dealing with pregnancy, but I'm not stupid. You didn't ask this, but I'm putting it here because people have brought it up and they may read this comment. I would never expect my husband or whatever you want to call him to find my changing body attractive. Pregnancy is weird. I think it's beautiful, but he or others don't have to. What I did expect was him to not call me hideous to another woman, or to cheat, especially while I'm growing a life we both wanted. Why do you have to move? We bought our home together and instead of fighting it out, we'll be selling and splitting assets, or at least I hope that's how it will be. Plus, I just don't want to be here in this house. It's too big for just a baby, and plus the dog he just had to have that's currently curled up in bed with me. Clarification: have you moved out yet? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still in the shared home. He moved out to stay with his family until he finds another place. Update. I'm making an edit because I'm not sure this sub will let me do an update post. I was told I'm not allowed to change the locks due to it being his home as well, and he came over last night knowing there wasn't crap I could do to prevent it. Thankfully, he only grabbed some personal belongings, threatened to take the dogs, he did not, and let me know he emptied our shared account. Part of me rolled my eyes and figured he wasn't dumb enough to do that, and the other part made me make a mental note to check it once he left. Sure enough, our account has maybe $5 in it. He did a transfer which I'll be calling the bank about and speaking to an attorney this afternoon. Thankfully, my dad taught me you don't fully mix finances, so my savings wasn't capable of being touched. And while it's not a lot, it's enough to pay for the fees over the next few weeks. I don't have any family left, so I think he's doing a power play to make me feel like I'm alone and need him, when in all reality it's lit a fire under my ass that I don't want or need such a garbage person in my life. Thank you to everyone that's reached out with comments, kind messages, and helpful advice. Update. I wanted to do an update with how many people took the time to send messages, leave comments, and share their own personal stories, which especially helped make me not feel so alone. As mentioned in an edited post, I was not allowed to change the locks on our house due to both of our names being on it. I never feared for my safety, it was more so an annoyance. He showed up to grab some personal belongings and I thought that would be the most that would happen. It was like he was trying to get a reaction from me. He told me he transferred funds and emptied out the account. I didn't believe him until I saw it myself. That was both of our money, so that's being dealt with currently. He showed up the day before yesterday completely drunk, begging to talk, increasing in anger when I would just ignore him and walk away. It kept increasing, so I went to grab my bag and walked down the road to a neighbor's home so I wasn't alone. He grabbed my arm to stop me, and when I yanked it away, he slapped me, almost a backhanded open slap. The cops were called. I didn't have a mark on my face, so it was a my word versus his. They escorted him off the property, and I'm only now assuming he's back with his parents now. He did throw a fit about the dogs and does have proof of ownership, so I'm guessing he'll be able to take them. Went to leave to go for a drive to clear my head after everything and realized 3 of my 4 tires were flat. I know it was him, but I don't have proof. Insurance won't cover it, so going to a tire shop on Friday morning. Just another drop in the bucket. As for the attorney, I've had my consult and I'm waiting for my check to come in for my actual appointment and getting the ball moving on this. There's not any family left, and a few close friends are kept in the loop, but I don't want to burden them or treat them like unpaid therapists, so I think that's why I came back to Reddit. Something therapeutic about just typing it all out into the void. The baby/pregnancy is okay. I've actually lost weight, and the doctor has told me to avoid stressful situations and to take things easy. I'll be calling to see if I can change the locks on the home now. And if not, I'm going to start looking for places. Relevant comments. It's okay to burden one of your friends. Otherwise, you could stay in a women's shelter for safety. Staying with friends isn't possible. A lot are out of state, and lawyer mentioned abandonment of assets. Plus my job and doctor are here. I do have someone coming out and putting a few cameras up, and thankfully the neighborhood is aware and keeping an eye out. This is all short-term, of course, and the goal is to leave. There's just a ton of reasons why that can't be right this moment. A different commenter. Unfortunately, all of my friends are out of state and too far away from my work, doctor, and I was recommended to stay on the property so he couldn't go after me for abandoning the assets. OP's best friend. Thank you. While I'm trying to do what I can and stay safe, my friends are on the other side of the US. What we're doing right now is FaceTimes and phone calls. My best friend has outright said if she calls and I don't call back within 5 minutes of our setup time, she's calling the police. She also put in for some time off of work and wants to come up to help me look at places and just be there in general. I'm not going to lie, I'm struggling in every way possible. And I'm scared, but I know I have a support system to lean on. Cameras. My neighbor has some they're letting me use until I can afford to buy some better ones. They have video but no audio. At this point, I'm glad knowing I'll at least have something. I hope you get that money back. I really hope so too. He seriously transferred everything but $5 from the checking and the savings, which didn't even have his name on it. Wait, how? Yeah, we had a shared laptop and I didn't think he could get into it, but I'm somehow thinking he managed with passwords or something. I filed a dispute with the bank and they're investigating it, along with a fraud report at the police station. The bank mentioned with it being my husband, they may not approve the dispute, so that's why I went and did a report at the police station. Relationship with in-laws / can you start the divorce proceedings sooner than the birth? While I would consider it a civil relationship with the in-laws, they are his parents and in their eyes he can do no wrong. He's an only child and they have a very, very close relationship. His mother apologized on his behalf but asked me to put myself in his shoes. They're choosing to wear blinders to the whole situation. With the divorce, that's the whole attorney thing. I've done a free consultation. The attorney and I agreed with the assets and how things are going. It won't be a mediation, and will be a long, expensive court battle knowing how spiteful he's being. They have recommended a police report on any issue to have it filed, to not block contact with him for proof of harassment, and think the best course of action is selling the property and splitting assets. I'd love to just focus on my pregnancy and myself, but due to safety reasons I'm staying on top of legal issues. Update 4 days later. He broke in late last night. I was able to contact the police before I confronted him, but due to location I knew it would be a bit. I tried walking by him to leave the house, but every time I would he'd shove me, once hard enough to make me stumble and fall backwards. The eerie part is he never once yelled through things. One of the items hit me, causing an emergency room visit requiring stitches, said the most vile things. He hated me, I should kill myself, how useless I was, etc., yet never once raised his voice. I'm not saying that in a good way. I wish he would have yelled. It was a fight or flight instinct and I found out mine was to freeze. I hate that for myself. He was arrested and his mother already bailed him out. I'm staying at a hotel thanks to a work advance and looking into apartments. I won't be stepping a foot into that home we shared until my best friend is here, and even then it will be with police being with us. Nobody can figure out what made him change almost overnight. Only thing I'm guessing is a psychotic break, but I'm not a therapist or doctor. Besides some ugly bruises and some stitches, myself and the baby are fine. My lawyer feels like this is enough to get a protection order for myself and will include the pregnancy/baby. Next time I see him will be at court. Sorry I'm rambling and maybe this doesn't make any sense. For now I'm safe, can sleep good for the first time in weeks. I have the dogs. Nobody is aware of where I am besides one close person, and the police. Final update, I changed my locks. Figured if he'd get the law involved I'd use pregnancy brain and being forgetful to give him a spare set. Relevant comments. Could it be a head injury? I wish he was hit in the head, fucker deserves it. On a serious note, no, nothing changed, no outside stress, no injuries, nothing that I'm aware of. I know it sounds unbelievable, but once the mask slipped, gloves were off. I think he thought he wanted it, to the point where he tried to believe that is what he wanted / the right thing to do. It's hard, it's so damn hard. I wish I could hate him, but I just feel sorry for him. That does not mean I will ever go back, or at this point talk to him without the law involved. I'm choosing myself and the little one, and really it's his loss. Can you get an abortion? I've had a couple of those comments, so don't take this reply personally, just the one I'm using. Abortion is not in the books for me. I'm not anti-abortion and I feel like it's a right women should have, and it's heartbreaking what our nation is going through when it comes to women having that striped away. I'm 6 months pregnant, I can feel her move, I love her. She isn't a fetus to me, she is a baby. If I was 4 to 8 weeks, yeah, maybe it would have been an option, but it isn't now. I will take every step in making sure we are protected. I will love her enough for the both of us. I will not let her sperm donor have the opportunity to hurt her. Update 1 week later. Police met me at my home to grab some personal belongings and pretty much anything and everything else I could grab. Thanks to the user who recommended me calling the non-emergency number, it was smooth sailing. He wasn't home, I didn't have the fear of him showing up, and both officers were very kind. What I walked into, on the other hand, was not very fun. This man looked like he went on a bender. Bleach on clothes, food everywhere. Personal belongings just destroyed, especially the nursery. I was able to salvage a lot of the bigger items and packed what I could. They're now in storage until I move into my place. Took pictures, and as aggravating as it was, especially with the 1 step forward 2 steps back, I'm hopeful that they'll just be another thing used against him to prevent custody. As far as him, he has no way of contacting other than attorney or email, and it's been quiet on both ends. His parents have not reached out. I don't even know what I'd say to them if they tried, so no loss there. His girlfriend, yes, girlfriend, as I found out, has been trying to contact me via friends to let me know she's pregnant. I'm unsure if that's true or not, but that in the very least confirms the affair and how well he kept things hidden. I do want to clear the air. I made a post asking for helpful information on resources that could potentially help, and someone made a comment saying I was in it for a long con. And that's just untrue. I have not, and will not accept any personal items/donations other than advice and maybe an internet hug. Editor's note, OP deleted the post she is referencing. See comment below. While I wish my story was made up, it is not. Maybe it's a venting board, maybe it's just connecting with people that have been in the same situation, but it helps keep me sane. Anyway, I'll leave it at thank you all for listening and checking up on me. I'm safe, I'm good. Pregnancy is the only thing kicking my ass, and I'll make sure to make a post in a few months letting y'all know she's here and that we made it. Bye for now. OP's comment on this post. Oh, trust me, I'm having bad days with it, especially emotionally. I'm sure the hormones aren't helping. I've debated if I turned a blind eye and if there really weren't any red flags. I've had moments where I've missed him because it's not just a switch, we loved each other, or at least I loved him. This is a person I planned a future and had a past with. It's really just an emotional roller coaster, and that's okay. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to handle all of this, but I'm doing my best. OP's comment on the post she deleted. I'm not asking for money, and I'm sorry if it came across that way. I can provide proof and anything else. I've had multiple people reach out and ask if they could help, and I've always turned it down. The only thing I'm asking is for someone to point me in the way of an organization that I may not know of. If that's coming across as that way, though, I can and will delete my post. It wasn't my intention. Update 1 week later. I've read every single message and the majority of the comments. Thank you for sharing your experiences, your advice, your love. More than a few have offered baby items, groceries, and gift cards. I cannot in good will accept any of those, but if you have items laying around, please consider donating them to a charity that helps homeless parents. One thing that stuck out is someone asked how I could feel sorry for him. I guess I'm an empathic person to the point where it could be a flaw. I wish if he was so unhappy he would have just told me. We could have fixed it before it became violent, and if it wasn't fixable, we could have both been amazing parents. His girlfriend that reached out wrote an email in which was forwarded to me. She's saying she's pregnant, and for her sake I hope she's not. She's accusing me of ruining a good man's reputation. She called the injury self-inflicted and how they want a paternity test. My personal favorite was if my baby is actually his. She hopes her baby can grow up with her and have a sister. Little does she know I will go to hell and back to make sure that man does not know anything about my daughter. As for him, I've seen him once while leaving the grocery store. Outside me was calm, cool, collected. Acted like he was a stranger I wouldn't give a second look at. On the inside I said oh shit about 500 times and cried in the car. Money situation is fixed, work bonus and promotion. I've bought a new and better living room suite and having a painting party at the end of the month. You're all invited BTW. Still good, still safe, slowly learning to love my new normal. If you're in a similar situation or in an abusive relationship, man or woman, reach out. You're not alone. You don't need to be brave, I'm certainly not. You just need that I can't do this anymore to light that fire. Relevant comments. Commenter. I'm a petty Betty and would have posted the GF's text about ruining a good man's reputation right next to all the destruction of the house. Let everyone see what a good man he is. OP, you know petty me wanted to show her the text, the pictures, the everything. I'm going to let him show her himself, because until he does I'll just be that vindictive lying ex. I was perfect to that man, I poured endless love into our marriage, I spoiled him, I was a best friend, a therapist, and probably his biggest hype man, and if he can leave that, he can leave anything. There's no bad issues. I want to see her eat, just not at my table type of thing, but I'm treating her just like I do him, like they're nothing but a stranger to me. He doesn't have to go on the birth certificate, and really after the divorce and court dates I don't think I'll allow either of them to be a second thought in my head. Update 6 months later. Hi. It's been a while since I've posted. I mean, last time I posted I had swollen ankles, waddled, thought every little cramp was a contraction and felt like life was falling apart. I want to thank everyone who reached out even months after the fact just to check in on a stranger. My daughter is here. For privacy I'm going to leave out her DOB, but she was 6 pounds 2 ounces and the most beautiful head of hair I've seen. She's now got the hairstyle of Danny DeVito. My original posts are still up in case anyone is looking at this with puzzlement. But to say things have been rough would be an understatement. He showed up to the hospital. Thankfully everyone was aware and hospital staff handled it properly and perfectly, and I was able to focus on labor and delivery. Unfortunately, the stress of that alone took an already hectic moment in time and amped it up, but things could have been so much worse and I'm highly thankful they were not. Right now I've got about 10 different CPS calls. They've came to my house on 4 occasions. His family and him have filed for an emergency custody hearing, and due to leaving the state with my daughter, that did give him a foot in the door. It seems the protective order isn't really helping in that matter. I am still on maternity leave, so thankfully my focus has fully been on my daughter and collecting all the evidence to make sure he doesn't get any custody other than possibly supervised visits for an hour. My main concern is if he doesn't get any custody that his parents may do the grandparent route. I wish it was an update to say I'm kicking motherhood's ass and taking names, but most of the time I feel like a burnt-out blob. I am in therapy and the doctors are keeping an eye on postpartum depression, yet my doctor thinks a giant hemorrhoid X is the cause instead. Don't have an update on the girlfriend of his. Have kept the dogs. I think they love the little one just as much as I do. I am excited and anxious to see where the next chapter of life will take me. Relevant comments. Don't worry about grandparents' rights. Thank you for this. The rational side of my brain knows that they have a slim to none chance of getting anywhere, yet the exhausted, overstimulated hormones all over the place keep going, what if? So anytime that fear creeps back in, I'll come back to your comment and read it a few times. Update. Baby is here. Well, honestly she's been here for a bit, but still a noob at life. She was born with a head full of black hair. 6 pounds 2 ounces and was alert from the very start. I made an update on True of my chest, but making a small one here just in case it gets taken down. CPS has been called numerous times and came out for a few visits. Everything from I was living in filth to I was leaving the baby home alone to that I was addicted to meth has been said and investigated and proved wrong. I did leave the state, and that got his foot in the door for an emergency custody battle which will be coming up soon. The protective order was a joke and has been unhelpful. The man showed up to the hospital while I was in labor, but thankfully the hospital staff handled it perfectly. The cops not so much, but didn't expect it. I think his parents are the biggest push in the custody thing, but I don't think he'll get granted more than a few supervised visits. My main concern is if that happens, his grandparents going after grandparent rights. To protect their reputation, it's highly likely they will. Unfortunately, I don't have an update on his girlfriend. But I did keep the dogs, aka the gruesome twosome, and I think they love the little one just as much as I do. Thank you all for still caring and messaging/checking in months later. It means more than I can say. Relevant comments. Commenter. How did he find out you were in labor so he could show up at the hospital? Do you have a mole feeding him info? OP. I'm assuming so, yes, most likely a coworker, or at least that is my best guess. Commenter. Why they have a claim to emergency custody? I think they probably tried to file for emergency custody claiming that she was kidnapping the baby by moving out of state. OP. Exactly what happened, they said kidnapping/fleeing the state. From what I understand from my lawyer that won't hold, but I am required to do a paternity test since he's not on her birth certificate. Why he gets this chance I have no clue. It's exhausting and I think it's a control/scare tactic to keep his family happy. Going to use this comment to just add in 2 other questions from this post that I can't find. Someone mentioned an AirTag. I called a garage, explained the situation, they're going to have me drop it off and go over it with a fine-tooth comb, so if the person that mentioned that is reading this, a big thank you. As for the coworkers/someone leaking information, I've stayed silent ever since. Finally, I cannot get them in trouble with false accusations with CPS because they're making anonymous reports. I know it's them, my lawyer knows it's them. Heck, at this point the caseworkers probably know it's them, but legally it's anonymous and they'll just decline saying/reporting anything. Pictures of his destruction. Thank you so much. I have not kept the pictures personally, but my lawyer has them, police documents, the texts, the voicemails. I couldn't physically keep them in my home because I would look at them over and over again trying to figure out what I missed, where it went wrong, what I could have done to prevent it. It made my mental health spiral. Neither one of us, lawyer and I, believe that he has a chance when it comes to custody, but neither one of us thought he'd get his foot in the door as far as he has either. Right now it's focusing on the baby, the dogs, and keeping my physical/mental health in a good place. So thankful for Reddit and everyone that checks in because it's been therapeutic in a way. OP posts and dad for a minute. In all reality, I need some dad advice. Life has been hectic, crazy, scary, defeating. I'm still going and keeping my head up because I just had a baby and won't let her down. A kind Redditor sent me over here because I'm looking at most importantly the safest but also the easiest way to sell things online. Every place seems to have its downfall. eBay seems like the best, but I'm unsure. Craigslist seems simple, fast, easy, but scammers and the meeting someone online. Where's the best place to meet? Is cash best? Should I take a friend? Makes me question my sanity. A gaming store seems hopeful and the safest, but I've also heard they'll give you bottom dollar for anything you can bring in. This is jumbled and a mess, but if you see this and have any kind, helpful so desperately needed dad advice, I need it. A dad joke wouldn't hurt either.